All right. All right, so we are talking about escape rooms as we mentioned earlier. So a lot of people weren't sure what escape rooms were. They kind of hit a all-time peak a few years ago with, like Lakeland has two of them in their downtown area. They get an hour in a themed room to try to escape. Um, Hopefully no one is claustrophobic because I would not recommend it if you are. But regardless of just being in a room, it can also be virtual, which is also really cool. And it's not just for teens and tweens, which, however, we have been doing for most of our programs, but we have done one for our adults, and that was not this past summer, but the summer before that, our outer space theme, and they seem to really love it. So when I was looking up, I'm like, how can I incorporate, what are they learning from escape rooms besides just being entertained? It really improves their social skills. They have to work together. They have to communicate their ideas in order to escape. So it really encourages the critical thinking aspect, and really team building. Nobody can just be working on their own. They all have to come together to try to figure out all the riddles and everything like that. Also improves your memory because sometimes you have to remember the answers of a riddle at the beginning of the escape room. I have like a horrible memory, so I write everything down. But how to create an in-person escape room. So we did a few, usually they're for holidays. So a lot of Christmas themed ones or Halloween, those seem to do the best just because, everyone's in the spirit, they want to go and do things. So the easiest thing to do for in-person ones is you need to figure out what your theme is. So a lot of times, for the holidays, like say, for example, we did Christmas, you wanted to collect some decorations, like some lights and just, Santa stuff, just to kind of place around the room to get really festive. Figure out the puzzles you kind of want to do. So if you want to do riddles, or if they have to try to uncode something, there's a huge list of different things that you can do. And also to gather boxes and locks. So in the I don't know if you can see my mouse, but like all the locks, once they completely open the box, that's when they've escaped, so to speak. So instead of escaping from a room, like how you would go to a professional escape room, it's just opening the box. So on Breakout EDU, this is what we have. It gives you pretty much everything along with access online. It does cost $99, but if you want to get real creative, you can also, go to like Walmart or Dollar Tree and actually just, buy the locks and save a lot of money as well. You can just buy what you need for your escape room, which is really nice. You don't have to buy Breakout EDUs, if you're very limited on your budget, which is very convenient. Even if you don't get their kit, you can still access this. All you have to do is make an account. It's free. Use social media or an email, and they give you all of these really nice resources. They have it, a lot of times it's for like teachers. However, they do have different options like, seasonal and holiday or library related. And that's where I've gotten a lot of mine from that I've used. And they already make all of the riddles, the codes, everything for you. And there's printouts, which is really nice. It's ready to go. You just set it all out. One thing is if you do the online Breakout EDU, something to notice is the locked versus unlocked. If you do that, locked, you have to have a certain access code, but the ones that don't say locked are free, and that's the ones I've been using the most. You don't need to pay for anything. Again, it's like everything's ready to go. And if you have an account, you can also bookmark them so you don't lose them. which I think is very convenient. So I'll have, like, if I go to my account, it'll list everything I've saved. Even if I don't use them, I'm gonna be like, well, next year I'll do that kind of thing, which has been very convenient. So if we clicked on, Little Red, which was kind of would go along with the theme of summer this past year, imagine your story. It tells you, it gives you kind of like a prompt to tell them before they start, which would be in the story area, all the lock combinations that you need to know. So if they need help trying to unlock it, you know what they are, and also how to set everything up, like literally step by step. They also have videos to show you how to do different things. That's helped me a lot because words only do so much sometimes, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I've really liked the videos for that. Oh boy. So I tried to make a virtual escape room for this past summer. I used Google Forms. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I had looked up a bunch of different libraries that had done it like out of state, and they've had a lot of success with it. And let's see, I will show an example if it'll load, hopefully. Yay, okay. So this is the one I made. So on our first page, everything I read, it says to include the instructions, what it's about, a good contact information, who made it, and kind of, so I put like my email, our website, and to, if they're going to use it, to make sure to give credit, and that it was, it was inspired by the summer theme of Imagine Your Story. So like if you go through, each page is a little different. So this would be like setting up the whole, where they're at, and, I'm not the best writer in the world, but, tried to kind of give a little background, and I used images because I'm a very visual person. And then once you get to, a certain part, you can ask questions. So like one of the things was, a riddle. I run smoother than most any rhyme. I love to fall but cannot climb. And then they have to type in their answer. And it won't let you continue until you've typed in the right answer. So they have to keep guessing. However, I can't see. Let's see. Okay, so when I was setting this up, one thing that's really great is under responses, you can see how many people have actually submitted the whole escape room, so you can get accurate stats on, for attendance and such. And how to make it, it's really easy. After you, let's actually, this menu up here is getting in my way. Okay, so example. So once you type in Google Forms, you click on assessment for the type of document you want to do. And this is by far the easiest one that I've come across to try to really make the escape room. So, again, you would start with the title, and then you just want to make sure you have a section for each page you want to do. Otherwise, it's all going to be on one giant page. I found that out the hard way before trying to separate everything. There's different type of answers, and you can do multiple choice. I noticed, like with the short answer, you want to make sure when you're writing their question, like if you want them to capitalize something, I would write that in parentheses, or if it's all lowercase. That was very helpful because, if you try to submit a question, it's the right answer, but they write it in all caps, it may not allow it, which I thought was kind of weird, but sometimes Google Forms is a little weird to begin with. But on the side here is all these sections. Let me move that. So yeah, so you can add a question, add pictures and add videos, and to make a new section and everything like that. If you want, I can also, if anybody has any questions, like wants a step-by-step thing how to do it, I can always write one up for you guys. I don't mind. Let's see.
That would be wonderful, nope. Kylie. I'll tell you, I think this is ingenious that you have used Google Forms for this. I mean, that is so clever. And so they can do this, just, at their own pace. Is that what I'm understanding? This doesn't have to be, since you created it in Google Forms and it's out there, they follow that link and then they can just do it at their leisure, and then you're prompted, correct? Like through your email or whatever when they're responding. So, yeah.
Yes. So there is an option where anytime somebody submits something that you can get an email. However, I didn't do that because I already get too many emails. So I just would go check it on a daily basis just to see how many people were submitting things. And you can actually see what they responded with and if it took so many tries and everything like that, which is really nice. I think one thing that is a bummer about this, a con for me, is if it only records it if they finish the entire escape room. So say, for example, somebody starts it and they can't figure out one question and they can't continue, it doesn't count that person. It's only until they've completely finished it. So I know there was one person that contacted me. They're like, I don't know, my kid can't figure it out. So and I was like, oh yeah, you didn't show up on here. So, but I still counted them because they contacted me. So there is that. However, if you don't want to make your own escape room, like some of the ones I did, I found a giant master list of other libraries that have made their own, similar to using Google Forms. So I will send Jennifer this PowerPoint so that way you guys can click on the links and everything. There's stuff that's based on books. So, Alice in Wonderland, there's Jumanji, Narnia, Dogman, a lot of popular, books that a lot of the kids like, and even teens and adults. And I know we did, for at least the library, we did Escape the Fairy Tale Part 1 and Part 2 over summer. We did, the first one is kind of like beginner, and the second one is a little bit more intermediate. So we offered both during June, and then I offered mine in July as kind of a stepping stone. And these were really the ones I was looking at over summer. But there's also ones on fandoms, that's what's really in right now. So Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Lord of the Rings, The Avengers, Minecraft, Pokemon. The list is really endless, but these are just some of the ones that I noted that were really relevant to everything going on. I was actually surprised that they actually have a Mandalorian escape room, since that's fairly new, the TV show. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I went ahead and added that on there as well. So that is all for my escape rooms. If anybody has questions, and then I can get into Discord.
Any questions for Kylie regarding escape rooms? You can put it in chat if you'd like. Uh-oh. And we can always, if you think of something along the way, we can always ask a little bit later too.
Let's see.
All right, my dear, if you want to go ahead, go to Discord.
Sweet. Okay, so not gonna lie, Discord takes a little bit getting used to. A lot of my teens were already on it, so they helped me out a lot. However, I was kind of familiar with it before we really started using it here at the library. It's kind of just like a giant texting group, pretty much. So for example, I mainly use it for my book club and also for my teen advisory, like volunteers, especially this one. You can put different rules in here, write it all up, and in order to be part of they call it a channel or the group, you have to press that you've read and you understand the rules. So that was something very important that I wanted them to know, even though this is online, there's still rules that you have to follow and to understand everything that's going on, especially when we were still closed. I also do announcements. Let's see. So I would put like, LTA is canceled, or, don't forget your community service project is due. And I try to make schedules for my teens so they don't forget when they're supposed to volunteer, especially if there's so many of them. Because I can't remember, so I make a list. And then our regular calendars as well. You can post videos, you can post memes, pictures, which is really nice. So for example, program pictures, showed them, hey, here's you that I'm posting on Facebook, so you know what you look like, or different things that are going on. Also, we just have a regular chatting channel, and then I just like them to be creative because a lot of my teens are very artsy, and I am very much not whatsoever. But, they like to post things, like a lot of them like to draw and do painting online and everything. And I'm like, someone drew this. I'm like, I don't even know how you do that. But, just kind of to inspire each other and all of that. They really like doing memes. I also told them to take pictures of their pets for me because that's cute, and pets are awesome. But also I started a thing like for every Friday I start a which is better, kind of like vanilla or chocolate, or PlayStation versus Xbox, and they start really debating. And it's really funny on my end, but man, they can kind of get heated, so I do that sparingly. But the easiest thing to do is, like, say for example, you want to create a server. So each little box here is a server that I made for different programs. So you would click add server, create my own. You can add a picture if you want. So I put like our little logos on there. Say meeting, whatever you want to call it, and create it. So you don't automatically start with all of those channels over here like I had showed for LTA. You have to make them. The voice channel is nice. So if you wanted to, kind of like what we're doing now with Zoom, same thing. You can do video chatting and also just audio chatting. However, if you want to make a channel, so if you want different things for them to do, like with the which is better, program pictures, each thing, or reminders, you want to create a new channel under texting channels. So you would click text, and then, program pictures, and create channel. So then you can start doing that. One thing to note is, I can't remember how to do it, but I can look it up for you guys on, let's see, come on, like on rules and policies. You can make it where they can't text back on certain channels, so that way you can constantly see the rules. Otherwise it gets buried in everybody's chatter. And also the censor bot, so they can't say any bad words or anything inappropriate. And how I did where, the press, if you've read and understand the rules, the Me6 little bot, both are little computer bots that, kind of monitor everything, and those have been most helpful. One of my teens actually helped me add those. He's very tech savvy. I'll have to ask him how to add them, and then I can send it to you guys, because I cannot remember since I did it a while back. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm so used to looking at it. So if you have any questions on like certain parts of it, or how to really get it started and such.
You probably have, I would imagine, that the youth that participate in this on Discord, they're probably already familiar with it, right? So like when they join you, they know what they're doing. So you
Yes.
probably don't even have to give them like a step-by-step kind of thing. And do you find that Do you find that the students that participate do they kind of fall under a particular profile? In other words, are they like, do they enjoy gaming? Are they big time gamers? Or do you find that you just get a variety of different kinds of students, and an interest?
So a lot of our students that are on here are mainly gamers that I've noticed, because Discord kind of started with gaming. However, I do have a lot that are just my volunteers. So like on the side here, they have all their own usernames, but like some of them aren't as familiar with Discord, but they're still on here. So a lot of them have no idea how to do video games or any of that. So there is kind of a variety, but they are mainly people who game.
If we wanted to connect with your Discord, account, I guess, is it kind of like a social media platform in a sense?
Yes, I would say so.
How could we find that? Like if I knew of a teen or someone interested in participating, what would be the best way for them to find you?
So in order to find me, if they want to add me as a friend, so to speak, they will go to, how do I get this little bar to move? It's in my way. Oh, let me see. So go to the home page, and then you would click on add friends to DM that you can direct message, and you'll write their username, but you also want to make sure you include the digital ID number. So like for me, mine is Shortt, and then you want to add in the hashtag 7440. So if somebody has the same username, the digital ID will actually be specific enough to actually find me, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Okay, cool. I think we have, let me see, I think we have a question from Sarah. Okay, how does the program work? For example, the book club, is it scheduled for a certain time or just any time? Do they chat with audio or with text only? So kind of just give us like a brief rundown of like your book club, how that would work.
Okay, so when we first started doing it, I added all the people that are in my book club, and you can go to voice channels. So if you click on it, it's going to try to do the camera, and it'll kind of pop up kind of like how all of our faces are. You can see all of your teens, talk to them, and everything like that. Let me turn this off, otherwise it's going to keep beeping. I noticed that, if you can't meet in person, they can do it right off their phone, because there is an app for this, which is really nice, because a lot of them may not have access to, a laptop or a tablet, but they usually always have their phone on them. And, most of them already know how to use it. It's a free app. Meet visually or with the webcam, but if they don't want to do the webcam, it'll still show their name or their username, so you know who it is, and they can still talk as well.
Very cool. This just blows my mind on what you're doing. I feel so out of the loop, but this is so awesome. I have a 10-year, I had to think about it. He's 10, he's in 5th grade. My son, he's a gamer, calls himself a gamer. And I often think about, it would be nice for him to take part in a group like this that I know is going to be, monitored and coordinated by someone that has their best interest at heart, because, as parents, we're concerned about that kind of thing, about who they're engaging with, what kind of platforms they get on. So I think this is wonderful. I think it's wonderful that you've cultivated, this platform, and you're bringing them together in a very positive environment for them to engage. I think it's great.
I know before I started Discord, I started doing the Remind app, which is kind of a perfect stepping stone if you're not quite comfortable with Discord. A lot of teachers use Remind app, and it's all where it sends text messages to that person to their phone, versus this they have to have an app for. So when I first started trying to reach out to either my book club or to my volunteers, I would just send out a mass message to everybody, and they can reply back, and you have a platform on here. If you want, I can pull it up and show you. That might be easier. Let's see. I haven't used it in a while, so bear with me. I kind of transitioned over to Discord since that was what most of my teens were familiar with. So just remind.com. Let me see if I can remember my login. Pretty sure I know what it is.
Any other questions that y'all can think of? I don't know if you're like me, I'm just kind of blown away, so I'm still trying to digest this all. But any other questions that y'all can think of for Kylie as she's pulling this up?
Enter. That was okay. Just sent to my email since I haven't used it in so long.
Did you actually remember your password?
I did.
That's amazing.
It's been so long. Let's see. Yes. What is it? 8769. Please work. Please work. Okay, so this one I think is kind of user friendly just because a lot of teachers use it. So you can create a class of people. So if you have a group of students that you want to reach out to, so for example, I did a high school book club, my volunteers. So if we click on one of them, so LTA, wait for it to load. There we go. So I have all their contact information. You can see who is part of this group on here. If they're a student, when they joined, when you add them, you have to add their name and then their phone number. And usually when you do that, you can send out a message. It'll say like, so-and-so wants to add you to the LTA Mulberry Public Library. And they click yes, and then they have opted in, so that way you can send them messages. And once you've added one person here, you can actually add them to other channels on here as well, which is really nice. So if somebody, like one of my volunteers, is already part of my book club, I will add them to my book club as well. So that way, I send them a book club reminder, hey, don't forget it's this Thursday, or, don't forget to pick up your book, it's here for you, kind of thing. Definitely, you can just send out announcements, which is really nice. So if instead of just sending one person a message, you can just click up here where it says announcements and then just type it in and send it out, and it sends to everybody in that group as well.
I think that's so smart because you're using communication tools that they're already familiar with, and that they feel comfortable with. And I think I think we all have to be very mindful of that, in engaging, especially with that audience, that we're using communication tools that they feel comfortable with. Nancy is saying that back in March, when the pandemic really hit us, that she used that. She said, this is how I communicated with my son's teacher, was with Remind. So just like you said, a lot of our students are already familiar with using Remind. I would have never thought about, I think it's just how narrow-minded I am or something. I would have never thought about using it, to communicate library stuff.
I know I didn't think of it. Actually, one of my teens suggested it to me. They're like, at least at the Mulberry High School, a lot of their teachers are using it. They're like, well, why don't you make an account? So that way you don't have to use your personal phone number to send us messages. Otherwise, they like to send me memes. So I'm like, no, I don't want you to have my number. So this was a great tool to really reach out to them and, just have them all in one place. And they could, if I do like a group text, they can respond to one another as well, just right over their phone, which is really great.